Hey yo, what's up guys? How's it going? How are you doing today, everybody? All right. I already took a trade this morning in the AM session. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start today's stream just by breaking that down. I took a short on the S&P, so we can go through as the reason as to why I did that. It was a bad day. What happened? Today was a tough one actually. Like a couple of my students, like I was trading this morning, and a couple of my students also found it quite tough to navigate. Many people were bullish today. I actually will tell you why I was bearish. How's the quality of the trading view quality here doesn't look like amazing. Let me see if I can switch it over to like my browser. I think the browser quality is a bit better. Let me do that. All right, let's see if the browser quality is better if I switch that. Am I gonna do analysis on gold? No, I just traded like the indices today. I generally only trade the indices to be honest. So yeah, I'll break that down. Okay, let me try and share Google screen of my trading view just so the quality is a bit better. I think when you do the app, it's a bit worse. There. Is that better quality or worse quality? Let me actually drag this out. Mm, 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 mm. Share window. No, no. Honestly, the quality just looks like shit. I don't know why this always happens, but I'm gonna do my app anyway. It's better. Share window. Yeah, I'll break down the trade I took today. I'm just gonna share my screen in the highest quality I can. Here's my browser. I think it's just when I stream on a certain browser, the quality is lower. There you go. Now you can hear me, right? You can hear me and see me now. No sound? Okay. 1 second. Now can you hear me? Oh my goodness. StreamYard is not my friend. StreamYard does not like me. Yes, you can hear me. Sick. All right, perfect. Let's talk about why I shorted the indices for the 5th time. And let me add this. Okay, cool. All right, so everything good now? All right. You should be able to see the screen. I'm going to wait till people tell me they can see the screen. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so coming into the day, what I saw was that YM took out its previous day high. It took out this all-time high yesterday, right? So I wanted to ask myself, okay, what's going to happen in this daily candle? Are we going to reach in and break this SMT, that we have with the YM above all-time high? Or are we going to trade back into this internal range of liquidity? You can see we have this fair value gap here. Okay, so there's 2 options. We either take out this high on the other assets, the all-time high, or we come back into the range. And that's pretty much the 2 options we have. It's binary for today. Now, I want you guys to pay attention very closely to how the daily candle closes yesterday. Okay, so the daily candle here yesterday closes as a up close candle on the YM and a down close candle on the other 2 assets, the ES and the NASDAQ. So because we formed this precision swing point, right? You probably heard me say that before. We also have SMT with this all-time high. So we can actually trade away from this high and we can look to trade back into the range if price shows us a daily profile that's bearish. Okay, so what we want to look for is see if the daily profile for these assets is bearish, and if we can get on side with that, then what we're going to do is we're going to short that. So what I did today, right, pretty simple. I waited for this daily open. We can mark it out. Here. Okay. All right, here's the daily open, right? And there is that precision swing point that we had yesterday. So we can mark this out as an area of interest that we can reverse off of, okay? So we don't need to see this high ran if we're going to trade lower based on the fact that it closes with that SMT at the all-time high and this opposing candle, okay? That's the interesting part. Then this morning, all I did was I observed what daily profile we were in. Well, you can see we kind of opened the day here, right? 1800. 6 p.m. opens here. Let's make sure we're 6 p.m. open is right here and right here. So we open the daily candle, right? We fail to displace higher, right? You can see we fail to displace higher, and we form another divergence with this 10 a.m. high from yesterday. So look at the ES come into this high. Whoops, actually we don't. My apologies. Is it this high here? There is an SMT somewhere in here. I have to find it 1 second. Actually, there is no SMT in the 4-hour highs. Yeah, it's in here. It's in here. Never mind. Okay, so what we can see is that we just failed to take out this high, right? We're staying in respect of this high in here. Again, I saw this as consolidation, and we had these equal lows down here. So what happened on the open is that we saw NASDAQ just melt, right? So 930 opened on NASDAQ, and we just put in this huge down close candle, right? Right here at 9:30 into this fair value gap. Now, what I saw is that ES didn't come into that gap yet, and the YM was also not reversing. So what I was interested in seeing is if we could trade a continuation on the S&P, right? So again, the S&P still had this gap. We can also mark out our lower draws, right? So we have this draw here for NASDAQ today. And we have this draw here for YM, right? The S&P still had this gap and this devil's mark, this 4-hour candle with no wick to trade into. So once I saw NASDAQ expand lower on the open, I was just waiting to see if I could get on side with the S&P, okay? See if S&P would also trade lower here. So what happened at 9:30, you can see that same signature I showed you on the 4-hour, right? That 4-hour precision swing point, that same logic forms here, right, on the 30-minute chart. So coming into the open, you can see, look at this candle right in here at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. is a up close candle on NASDAQ. It is a down close candle on the YM and a down close candle right here on the S&P. Now, this also has an SMT associated with it, right? Like this. Between this candle and this candle. So we can trade away from this swing when 10 a.m. opens. All I do, if you guys watch any of my stuff, right? So this box, you can see we rate above it. There's that 2-stage, right? All I do is wait for 10 a.m. to open, which it does right here. We form the opposing run, and then I shorted the ES. Covering the 10 a.m. high and targeting that same level, right? That same box, you can see. That 4-hour low is also the previous day low. I targeted that on the S&P as well, okay? Now, what I also did was I shorted the YM using the same logic. So I was looking for YM to trade lower as well because NASDAQ already distributed. So we had that same logic. We opened up here at 10. Where is it? Go to a 5-minute chart so I can show you. We opened up here at 10, right? 10 a.m. traded into this fair value gap. Then we closed through here. Right? Change the state of delivery. That's what I usually use to get involved. I shorted and I got stopped out on the YM. I covered this high and I was targeting this low. So I got stopped out on YM, and on ES, I hit my TP, right? 2, 3R, whatever you're aiming for. So those are the 2 trades I took today. It was a bearish daily profile, so it was nice to get on side with that. And yeah, a lot of people were thinking longs today, but the daily profile formed an open. We formed this high, and then we traded away from it, right? And then in the lower time frames, we got that realignment. So that was what I was trading today. Yeah. What did you guys end up trading today? Who here took indices on anything? Like, who traded indices on anything? A lot of people ended up trading long this morning. I hope you can see why I was actually more bearish, right? And now what I'm looking for, right, is continuation of NASDAQ to this low. So if I was going to take another trade, which we can maybe take a tape read together, we can trade something together, right? I'd be looking to short NASDAQ into the lows using the same logic as before. So you can see we have this fair value gap here on the 30-minute chart. Price trades into this fair value gap, right? Now you can see what I'm waiting for now is going to be for YM to run above this high to form SMT. So if we can form SMT at that high, I could short the NASDAQ, right, towards this low. So what we're seeing here, right, is that this is our draw on NASDAQ, this line here. We have this 30-minute high that we're running above. Cool. YM also runs above that 30-minute high, but there's no divergence in here, right? There's no SMT divergence, right? It's just all assets are running above that previous 30-minute high. So what I would like to do is wait to see if we can form some sort of divergence. And that would be with this right in here, right? Look at this high. Like that and like this. If that happened, then I could go short on the NASDAQ for a continuation, right? Be framing that continuation. But for now, we're just waiting. And you see NASDAQ's very close in proximity to that low. So maybe it'll run out the low first, right? maybe we'll run out this 4-hour low before we trade higher on the NASDAQ, right? We're on the YM. This 4-hour low right down here. Right, so let's see what happens at this low. 25,038. So in here, I don't have my entry model offered, so I wouldn't short this. Right? If I saw that SMT divergence up here, then I might look to short it. But because I don't see that, I just wait. Right? This is a really good draw on liquidity. It's that 4-hour low, right? All the way from yesterday. You can see price just about tagged it. Not yet. It leaves a failure swing. We should expect that to come into that low. And then you can see we still have all of this sell side liquidity down here. So NASDAQ can keep trading lower potentially, right? We don't really know where that run might stop. So in here for this continuation, right? If you guys know my model, there wouldn't be an entry I could take for this continuation. For this continuation, I would have need to see some sort of divergence, right? And here we just have, right? There's no divergence. See this? If we had ran above this high on the YM like this, then I could take that trade, right? Because then we'd have some sort of same thing as before, that up close candle versus this down close candle, right? You see that? And then we could trade that reversal. But in here, there's no entry. Yeah, I can do a giveaway. I can give away a 50K futures account. So the first person to tell me, and first person I see in the chat who I have to think of a good one, guys. It has to be easy. All right, I got it. I'm just gonna do a simple one. All right, I'm gonna think of a number between 1 and 10. First person to get the number between 1 and 10 gets a 50K account. 3, 2, 1. Put your answers in the chat. No one's got it yet. Oh, SETI Wonder. Nice. All right, one second. SETI Wonder, I was thinking of 4. You got it. Okay, cool. I'm gonna start that. I sent it over to the Aqua team after. They do all the giveaways. Don't worry, there'll be a few more giveaways, guys. Don't worry. Stay tuned. Yep, so then you can see NASDAQ has come into that 4-hour low, which is quite interesting to us, right? Again, there's nothing that I can get on side with for that, but it's still interesting nonetheless. I already took my trade earlier, right? I traded this morning, and I traded the S&P lower. I already broke that down a while ago. That was what I was most interested in trading this morning. So once I take my trades, I'm usually just done for the day. I don't typically trade more than once or twice. But yeah, that trade I took earlier was this trade on ES, right? And I did that with my community this morning. Where is it? 10 right here, okay? So I was trading towards that previous day low on the S&P 500, right? I took this entry in here. And I just held for 2R. Right? So I got that. And most of my trades, I aim for just a 2R. That's it. You can't see the screen? The screen should be right here. Should be. You should be able to see my trading view. I don't trade gold, guys. No. I only trade the indices. Like ES, NASDAQ, and YM are the assets I trade. Yep. Some of my students trade gold, but I don't personally. I focus on just the index futures. Yeah, maybe some gold analysis. I can look at the gold chart, sure. Okay, this is what I'm looking at for the gold chart. So I always look at 3 pairs together. So I would use gold euro, gold futures, and gold US dollar. And I would use my same approach that I've showed you guys for the indices on gold. So today, what would I have traded? Let's see. So you can see this daily candle here is quite interesting. This daily candle that we're currently in. What happened? Well, you can see we have this swing point here created on Monday, right? And we close back in the range on all 3 assets, okay? But look at this. There's a divergence here at this high, okay? This puts in a 1 tick sweep. Oh, actually, I think they all take it. Yeah, they all do take it. If there was a divergence there on this high, on this daily high, I would have been trading lower. But let's look at just today's candle and see if there's any way we can get on side with this move lower so far, okay? So we're going to mark out the daily open. And the draw on liquidity is going to be these lows, right? We want to see price trade into these equal lows. Okay, how would we get on side with this? Let's see. Cool. So what happens? We see price open up, right? This daily candle. And then we trade higher here. And you're going to notice the same thing that I've shown you on the indices happens here on the gold chart as well. So we're looking at where this wick of the day is created. And you can see there is a divergence between this here. And on a lower time frame, we're going to be able to see it. So look at this gap we're in. So we're in this gap right here, this fair value gap. You can make this like red. Okay, that's where we're delivering from. Again, we're obviously bearish. The market structure is very bearish here. So we want to see if we can frame some sort of reversal up here. Okay, and then trade a continuation in the New York session. So 2 a.m. comes up higher, right? We're delivering off of this high. We trade lower. Now in the New York session, around 8 a.m. is when I look at price. I don't trade gold, but I look at price around the 8 a.m. session open. I want to see if there's any sort of swing point I can trade from. And you can see here, there's no great swing point we can trade away from, right? At these highs. All of these are failure swings, meaning we don't take out any of these highs, right? Look. Yeah, it's not ideal, right? Because these are all failure swings, it's a harder short to take here at 10 a.m. lower. But let's see if we have some on the lower time frame. Yeah, on a day like today, because there's just failure swings across the board on all of our assets, right? I wouldn't be shorting this. I would instead be looking at this low. Where is it? The 4-hour low. In here. Okay, and I use that same logic I told you about those opposing candles, right? So this one you can see is a down close candle. And this is an up close candle, right? I would look to see if there's any divergence that forms between these candles, right? And the low. And then I might look to trade back in the range. But on this day, you can see the chart here. There's no entry on either side of the market given to me. My framework is very specific, right? So in here, because of the way this chart has not created any swings, I won't trade this in either direction. I'll just let this go. Yeah. I think this market's much more interesting today. Right, you can track this market here. You can see NASDAQ has traded into this low, and ES still has that low right here, right? So the next draw on liquidity for NASDAQ is going to be this 4-hour gap. The next draw for the YM is going to be this low. And we can see if price wants to continue to trade lower. It's kind of just a one-sided move today, right, in the index futures market. Why do I look at all three pairs together? I use SMT divergence, right, when I'm trading. So all three pairs together give me an idea of where swing points form. That's why. Yeah, simple answer. So I'm curious now to see if NASDAQ wants to come all the way into these lows down here. But at this point in time, right, 11:30, there's been a large expansion lower already. I'd expect some new phase of price, right? Either some consolidation or a retracement. And because of that, there's nothing I really trade in this market right now. Yeah. Just being patient. If you haven't traded yet today, I think a lot of the expansion is already over in this market. Like a lot of this move has already happened. And because a lot of this move has already happened, there's not much to really trade. I'm interested to see if YM wants to maybe come back into this failure swing up here, right? That would be the new phase of price I'd be expecting. All right, let's do another giveaway. Let me see. Let's do another 50K futures account giveaway and a 10K forex account giveaway. Let's do both. Okay. What's a good question? Let me try and think. Okay. What do we call this 1800 level? What's that called? You see me mark it out on my chart, right? What is this? Why do I mark out 1800? What is special about 1800 or 6 p.m.? Yeah, okay, daily open, nice. All right, you got it. Nice, that was quick, very quick. Yeah, it's the daily open. That's the daily candle opens, right? So we always want to use that because if we're going to open high, we're going to form a swing point above the daily open, right? Open high, and then we're going to expand lower, right? And if we're going to do the inverse, which is open low, we're going to form a swing point below the daily open, and then we're going to expand higher, right? So this daily open is very important because I can see where in relation to the daily candles open do we form a high or a low, right? And that helps me trade away from a certain level. And so NASDAQ still has this low here. That would be the next draw on liquidity, right, for NASDAQ. So again, what we want to see is if this wick, right, is going to support expansion now into this low. Okay, we want to see if this wick is formed and it's going to expand now into the low. And what I would look for, what I'd wait to see is something like this, right? So what do we have? We have this fair value gap in here. Okay. YM, as you can see, has traded into that fair value gap. Like this. Okay. So that's an SMT divergence. Now NASDAQ fails to reach into that fair value gap and is now closing through. So a trade idea is to take NASDAQ, right, covering that high, targeting that low as a continuation potentially, right? Again, you're looking for that next draw, and the wick has been created with this SMT divergence. So we come above this high, right, in here. Now, the only issue with the idea here, right, even though we have that divergence like this, the issue with that is that we're not seeing this asset reverse yet. So I wouldn't take this trade because the YM hasn't reversed yet. My smoke detector is going off. That's what you guys are hearing in the background. Let me turn that off. One second. Right. So because we haven't seen this asset here reverse from this SMT in that gap, I'm just going to wait. And if this asset reverses, then NASDAQ could trade lower. Sorry, guys. My smoke detector is going off. I think the battery is low on it. That is why. My dog was freaking out. You're hearing him. It's okay, buddy. Sorry, the smoke detector went off. So we want to see if this swing point holds, right? We want to see if price trades lower off of NASDAQ there. Framing this 30-minute candle as a continuation, right? So you can see we had a reversal up here. The only problem was there's no SMT that I liked up here. So I don't want to trade away from this swing point. It's not a good swing point for me to trade away from. There's no divergence, right? I always talk about that. So because there's no divergence here, I don't like trading this candle lower. Even though there's a signature, I don't like trading it lower. So what I do is I just wait, right? This is the difference in like pattern trading and trading with some logic, is that this in here is a good pattern trade, but there's no good reversal that you're trading away from. I would much rather see YM come into these highs before we go any lower. Before we trade any lower, I'd like to see YM come in and take out this high and form that divergence, right? That we talked about earlier. I've already done a couple giveaways, but I'll do a couple more before the end of the stream. Right, so you can see this is that precision swing point that I have on the hourly chart. So I would like to see if before we come into this low, if we retrace and we take out this high on the YM, right? That would be interesting to me. So taking out that high and then trading into this low. So while we do this here, we form divergence up there. NASDAQ does this and then trades into the low. Okay, that would be my idea. And what you could actually trade to get on side with is this on YM. So if you're really looking for a trade, this is not a bad trade. Taking YM towards this high right here, covering the 30-minute low that was just formed. Right? So that's not a bad idea. Not a terrible trade. What I would like to do first before that is see this inversion fair value gap. I want to see this gap invert, right? You guys trade ICT concepts, you know what I mean? Right, this is that 11:30 open right in here. So we have SMT forming right here at that previous 30-minute low like this, okay? And not a terrible trade long on the YM. Right, we just want to see NASDAQ shift above this high. And then this gap inverse. It's not a terrible idea. Yeah, if you guys smash the like button, then maybe I'll do another giveaway soon. Right, so we will then see NASDAQ retrace maybe up into here if this expands into that high. But I'd be looking for this high on YM before I traded any lower, especially given the fact that we have no good swing trade away from. Yeah, it's not a bad idea on the YM if we get a strong closure through here. I'll take a long here on the YM. And I'll be looking for that high. I'm going to be risking that 30-minute low. Where is it? Just a little scalp. I'll do it on eval. Enter at the inversion retest. And you want to now see if this 30-minute low can hold, right? And you want to see if we can target that high. So the higher targeting is 47,063. Right, so we're looking for Nasdaq to retrace here while YM comes in and takes out these highs. I think your age is over 21. I'm 25, yes. I'll be right back. Do I use quarterly theory? A bit. I use like precision swing points, for example. Like right now I'm targeting that precision swing point, right? On the hourly, that high. I want to see if we can form a two-stage there, two-stage divergence before we trade lower. But this is like counter trend, right? So it's a little bit risky. All I'll do is I'll put my stop loss there just for better RR. What do you use as a confirmation to trade a reversal or retracement? I'm going to use a two-stage SMT or Kraken correlation for every one of my swing points, right? So in here, I'm actually trading that invalidation because at the high, look here, at the high, we don't have any SMT divergence, okay? So this is delivering without SMT divergence lower, meaning I want to target this high up here, which is that hourly PSP. I want price to come in and take out this high right here on the YM, this 10 a.m. high. That's my draw. Okay. So I'm trading from this low to that high because I don't want to see price expand lower without a swing point, right? And I'm trading it on YM because YM gives me that SMT divergence right here. Okay. But it's counter trend, so it's a little bit more risky, right? You can see Nasdaq's expanding here, but the YM is kind of just chopping. Is my voice bad? Like, is the mic quality bad? Yeah, we're really just kind of chopping here on YM. But I would like to see it be the asset that comes in and sweeps out these highs. All right, let's do another giveaway. I'm gonna do two 10K forex counts for someone who tells me what I've marked out on my chart here. What is this box called? This blue box. What is this called? If you study ICT concepts, you'll know. Yeah, it's an IFEG. Nice. Cool. These are easy ones. Yeah. I'm gonna take the first one who gave me. Yep. I got two of you. Don't worry. All right. The winners will be announced after, like Aqua does them all. So yeah, it's an inversion fair value. Yes, Karen, you got it first, and I've noted that. Don't worry. So let's see if we get this move on the YM. It's really, really choppy right now. Again, it's counter trend, right? But our logic is for this high to be taken before we go any lower on this asset if we want to trade into this low. You can see this hourly candle here is wicking. We have quite a bit of divergence below these lows down here, obviously. So let's see. It'd be interesting. Did you trade the 930 manipulation? I did. Yes, I traded ES lower today. So the trade I took on my Discord this morning was ES shorts, and I traded ES here. So I traded the continuation at 10 a.m. like this. I covered that 10 a.m. high, and I just targeted 3R. That was it, like so. I post my whole trade recaps on Twitter and stuff as well. You guys know that, and like YouTube, so you can like watch those there. Yeah, this is really, really choppy, but maybe it'll go. We'll see. Yeah, it was a good sell this morning for sure. It was really the move I wanted to see today. I was quite bearish in the daily candle, so it was a nice sell. I live in Canada, brother. All right, let's see if we get this YM trade to the highs. Looks good right now, right? Starting to expand in our direction. I'm targeting 47,063. Yeah, you just watch and learn. That's the best thing to do, guys. You don't have to take the trades I take. I'm taking this one after I traded this morning anyways, right? So this one's going to be with lower size. This is against my daily bias as well, right? My daily bias is bearish. I'm trading a retracement higher into the range. Yep. Looks very good, right? It's now starting to expand in our direction towards our target. right? And you can see our logic here is pretty consistent logic. What we're looking for and what we're saying is that because we didn't form any divergence at this high, we have this precision swing point in here, okay, this candle. Now, we came up and we left a failure swing on this high on YM. You can see this is the same candle here on the NASDAQ. It's on the hourly chart, okay? Let's go to the hourly chart quickly. It's this candle, okay? Now, we don't have any divergence above this high. No divergence above this high. So we're looking to see if price wants to come in and sweep out this high, forming that two-stage divergence, right? Before price trades into the lows on NASDAQ, which is our draw. You want to see price come into here potentially. So we're framing a retracement from external, this previous candle low, to the previous candle high, which is the internal range of liquidity. It's a fair value gap on the hourly chart, right? And then I use a 30-minute SMT at the lows, like this. And I enter on the 3-minute inversion, right? Simple as that. You are too energetic. Yeah, it's early morning for me too. I'm on the West Coast, right? But hopefully you guys can learn something. I take the same types of trades every single day. My approach is very consistent, right? So you'll see when I come on these streams, if I take a trade, it's always going to look like pretty much the same, right? I'm always using the same pieces of logic, right? The same ones I teach you guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag my stop loss to this low now, just for to protect myself from some risk, right? So I'm going to move my stop loss to 46,979. Looks like it's going in our direction. That's good. Very nice. So when price comes into here, I'll take it all off. I don't really have an objective above this high. You can hold a bit maybe for something like this too, right? Up in here. But I'm going to take almost all of it off right here. So I'm in 20 micros, so 2 minis. I'll take 15 off here if it's given, and then I'll hold maybe 5 to there. And that's it. Do I trade in Asia and London session? No, I don't. Some individuals in my Discord, some of my analysts, they do trade those sessions. I'll do another giveaway after this trade. Yeah. Before I hop off today, I'll do another giveaway. So just stay till the end and we'll do it. I don't trade London, Asia though. Nope. I just trade the New York session. You can see this is pretty high resistance, right? It's very choppy. We're not really giving that clean expansion to those highs. Again, it's counter trend as well, right? The market's quite bearish here. So you can see any move higher is tougher to trade than a move lower, obviously. So let's see, maybe price will come in and stop us out, right? And not give us that high. Because again, this is quite bearish, right? The order flow here is quite bearish. Look at that, right? In one foul swoop. The true stop loss, the true invalidation is going to be that low of the 30-minute candle, right? So down here. but I just adjusted my stop loss for risk management reasons, right? This looks pretty bearish though. I mean, it's just not doing anything much, guys, right? It's mostly just consolidating. The best move of the day was this expansion lower, right? So capitalizing on that was key, and then the rest of this is kind of lower probability. As you can see, it's really just more so consolidating. So right at our entry price again. Yeah. I'm trying to trade a retracement counter trend. Yeah, the expansion of the day already happened, right? Today is definitely a bearish day. Absolutely. That was why the trade I took earlier was bearish, right? On ES. This one is trading a retracement, but you can see it's higher resistance. This 15-minute candle flipped all the way back down, right? We'll see. So 12 p.m. is opening here, and we just quickly ran. You can see we have another precision swing. We're running the low here, and now we might be able to expand higher, right? After that low has been ran. We're right at our entry price still, right? So now we want to see if we can really expand here off of that low, or else it's probably going to stop us out, right? We want to see this really expand off that low. See that 15-minute low we just ran right here? Make this a little bit less bright. Right, if we fail to expand here, we're going to come all the way into the lows. It looked good for a bit, but I think it's just a counter trend, right? Definitely a bit counter trend. Very choppy in here. Okay, so maybe another time for giveaway. We'll do 2 more accounts for forex. What phase of price is this called, guys? If I was to call this a phase of price, what is it? You saw some of my mentorship videos? You like my teaching style? Amazing, dude. Appreciate that. How much am I risking? I'm risking, I think, like $500 on eval accounts. Yeah. Consolidation. Nice. Yes. Okay. I'm pinning those 2. All right. There we go. Those are our winners. This is high resistance, right? Not low resistance. It's consolidating. Right, so we can see in here, price really is failing to expand higher. So it might very likely will come into the stop loss. It looked good for a moment, and then now it stopped us out. Yep, so I just got stopped out there. And that's how she goes sometimes, right? So really, it's just, you can see, this is really just chopping around. Again, I can't trade lower with no swing formation, but trading higher here, right, you can see it's really, really choppy. Let's see if we want to get that move lower. Again, there's no divergence at these highs, so there's nothing for me to trade. There's nothing for me to trade lower from. I unfortunately can't trade lower either. Yeah, extremely high resistance. But I think it's just a new phase of price, right? We've already gone from expansion, so now we have this consolidation here. I'm interested to see if NASDAQ wants to trade lower. Like, look at this daily chart. We still have this previous day low here on the YM, right? So I'm interested to see if we want to hit that by the end of the day. But I think in here, I'm not going to trade anything else. Nothing else really interests me in here. I think this is the next place that YM wants to go, though. We do have a swing point created on the 15-minute chart here, right? You can see price comes into this fair value gap here. And then it forms a swing point above here. But again, it's really choppy in here, so I'm not interested in trading this lower. Wait and wait. Yeah, exactly. Gotta be patient. 100%. PM session might reverse. Absolutely. Yeah. These are the market conditions. You just like, it's easier just to do nothing, right? Truly, it's easier to do nothing. I think by the end of the day, though, we probably will hit that previous day low on the YM as well. Yeah. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. I think, though, just because it's getting into lunchtime, I'm probably going to hop off. I don't think there's much more I'm going to look for today. There's no real setup for me to go short or long here. So probably just close it off in the day. I'm going to post all my trade recaps on Twitter, like I always do every day. The morning trade was the best trade because that was with the expansion. And now we're kind of in this new phase of price. I'm not really interested in trading that. But yeah, I'll see you guys all on the next stream. Yeah, a giveaway announcement will be announced by Aqua. I'll send it over to them. Right, I have the giveaway winners right here. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next stream. We're going to be streaming tomorrow, same time. Okay, sounds great, guys. See you then. Peace.